Is it time to just completely throw in the towel and give up on Google Ads? I'm sure that this thought has come across your mind many times since you have decided to start running Google advertising and you clicked on this video because you want to know if you should once and for all just give up on Google Ads, or if you want to know when you should give up on Google Ads. And as someone that has been trusted by many local small business advertisers to audit accounts, what I tend to see when I look at different Google Ads accounts is that when I'm doing these audits, most of the issues tend to fall in one of two categories, actually both categories, but they can be heavy on one or the other: pre-click issues and also post-click issues. I'll talk about those in detail towards the middle to end of this video, but in this video, I want to outline some questions that you need to brutally answer to determine whether you should give Google more of a chance, or if it's just time after you've set up your campaign properly and you've set all the right settings, you had an expert run it for you, then if at that point it still hasn't yielded anything, maybe potentially it is time to give up. But before then, let's do a deep dive into some harsh reality check questions that you need to answer. And I'll take you through those in a second, but wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Michelle. I'm the founder of Level 28 Media, and I help local service-based businesses generate leads from Google Ads. So if you're interested in audit or managed services and you're spending at least $2,000 a month, check out the link below and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you. Now let's take you through the harsh reality of Google Ads and when you should potentially give up and different things that you have to consider. So for most local advertisers who are looking to generate leads from Google Ads, the first 90 days after launching your brand new Google Ads campaign is going to be absolutely awful, atrocious, brutal. I'll even say, even as a good PPC manager, a strong PPC manager, someone that knows what they're doing and has been able to generate strong results in other industries, maybe even the same industry, might still not be able to get you a good result after the first few weeks. And the reality is every market's different. And the reality is Google has become more and more of I, I want to say casino, but there's no other word right now to really, best describe it, but it's starting to seem a little bit more like gambling at this point. And that's probably why you're considering turning this thing off, because it's just wasting money and it's hard to be strategic. But you can still be strategic in the casino. And that's what I'll talk about in a little bit. But what I'm trying to get at here is even Google Ads experts might not even be able to crack it in 30 to 45 days. Most strong Google advertisers will typically quote you 90 days to really see things get dialed in. But it will vary too, depending on the industry and your ad budget. The harsh reality is you'll question each and every move you or your agency makes. If you're running your own Google Ads campaign and you make a few tweaks on your ad account and then you log in tomorrow and you don't have any impressions, you're going to be tempted to want to go in and make more updates, add more keywords, change this setting to that setting. Or if you have hired an agency because the agency should be the expert and go-to resource for you, you see the changes that they're making and you're wondering, haven't really been seeing great results yet. Is there something wrong with the way that they're managing it? What's the issue? These thoughts are going to be coming through your mind. Another thing is, in that 90-day period, you want to change things every day. Let's just face it. Bid strategies, keywords, clicking every button that sounds enticing, auto apply recommendations. That's just the reality. And because you're not seeing the results, you want to do whatever you can in order to get the results as quickly as possible. But I like to tell clients that I compare this approach to almost like baking. If you're baking a bread, you don't want to open up the oven every 5 minutes because that's just going to have an impact on the way that the bread is, baking. It's not really going to be effective. So don't try to open the oven and try to change the ingredients too often, because then you're going to potentially make things worse because you're not giving it enough time to truly breathe. Another thing is you'll be unprofitable. Let's reality check. You're going to be unprofitable. You want to fire your agency. You also feel like Google is just one big casino taking you for a ride. I'm not sure if anyone here has heard that phrase, the house always wins. But yeah, that mentality can't resonate anymore than, with Google these days, especially. Sometimes when I'm using certain bid strategies, I definitely feel like the house always wins with Google because it just spends money and it's not giving me anything, and it's just super frustrating. So I'm here to stand in solidarity with you that, you've been running your Google Ads campaign for 90 days and you're pretty much getting close to your 90-day mark. I want you to look at a few things, and I'll take you through those in a little bit. But I want to say that I know how painful it is. It will feel very painful. Each day you go by spending money, you're not yielding a return. I've got many clients that have gone through that, and even people watching my YouTube videos going through this as well. And they're just like, well, when are we going to officially turn that corner and actually start yielding results? Before you give up, before you change strategies or consider moving to another channel, I want you to answer the following questions. And these are the harsh reality questions that I'm going to pose to you. Number one, are my auto apply recommendations off? Go check right now. Pause this video. Go check and watch it now, and just go check it now to see, are your auto apply recommendations off? If they're on, turn them off. Number two, are your search partners off? Search partners is known for bleeding money and also for bringing in bot traffic. Are your display campaigns, PMAX, smart campaigns all off? If we're focusing on local lead gen, you probably don't want to have these on, especially too if you have a new ad campaign. I'd only want you to be focusing on Google search. Next, are you monitoring your search terms report and adding negative keywords almost daily? I say almost daily because it might sound overkill to be in there every day. It just depends on how much budget you have. But honestly, these days, I don't really trust Google as much with the way that their match types are getting more and more out of control. I want to have control over it, and unfortunately, you have to let Google spend in order to see where it's wasting your money. So monitoring your negative search terms report, especially during the first 90 days, daily, or I'd say daily, but you might think that's overkill, but I just want to make sure that I'm playing as much of a game of whack-a-mole with Google as possible, because I don't want Google to ultimately be spending my money in the wrong ways. Number five, are you using absolutely no broad match in new campaigns? I don't like using broad match in new campaigns. Typically, I like to use them in more mature campaigns. And then number six, do you have your locations to target people in or frequently in my location, not the default setting with Google? Number seven, are you making impulse changes to your account based on feeling? I had a coaching client reach out to me saying that he needed to get at least 10 leads a day or else he would have to let go of his staff. And because of that mentality, he was watching his Google Ads account and making tweaks after every click was made. And that's just unsustainable. Like maybe he would go in there at 8 a.m. in the morning and then again at noon and try to make tweaks, like bid strategy tweaks, and different setting tweaks. And that's just a recipe for a major disaster. This is exactly what I was referring to when I said you don't want to be opening up the oven when bread is baking and adding more ingredients because you're not giving it enough time to fully mature. You're just making assumptions and making impulsive decisions without really getting to see the true results. Number 8, are you not taking advice from Google reps? The key here is not taking advice. Do not take advice from Google reps. I have a video about Google reps already, but just the TLDR is typically Google ad reps are not very well versed within Google ads. They're just salespeople trying to get you to opt into auto apply recommendations. I'm sure if you've tried to run Google ads yourself, you've probably had Google ads reps reach out to you trying to offer you free advice. Don't take advice from them. If you answered yes to all of these, keep going because at least you've got the fundamentals down. But if you have answered no, then you definitely want to make the tweaks that are necessary. Next, things to evaluate. I want you to look at things that I've broken it down in 2 different ways. One is the pre-click and one is the post-click. Do you have clear and realistic goals? I had a client that reached out to me, this was maybe 2-3 years ago, after we launched a campaign, or no, it was before we launched a campaign, saying that he wanted to get at least 900 leads a week. And I asked him, Mr. Client, where did you get that information to think that that's a reasonable number? And I told him, it's not reasonable because your average cost per click is $30 and you're only giving me just a very small amount of money to work with here. This is super unreasonable. I'm not gonna be able to get you 900 leads a week. And I think honestly, he was just pulling that number out of his hat, trying to say whatever he could say in order to squeeze as much as he could out of me. But Google Ads is not going to be able to make pigs fly. Let's be real about it. And also, we need to just level our expectations too. We already know that it takes at least 90 days to get truly dialed in. That doesn't mean you're not going to get results, but the results are going to be unsteady. And the data that's going to be coming in, you're going to be wasting money. Let's just be real. You are going to be wasting thousands of dollars to get this thing dialed in. But as long as we're learning and we have the right approach and the right strategy, that should be what should lead us to where we want to go. Number 2, when you want to look at your pre-click checklist here is, do you have a compelling offer and competitive price? If you have a premium price, then what makes your offer so good compared to your customers? Just because you command a premium price point, just because you command a premium price point doesn't necessarily mean that you can necessarily get that from your ideal clients, because they might be evaluating other competitors that have a better offer than you. So if you have a more premium price point, you need to have more amenities or more different offerings in your service in order to make up for why your price point is a certain price point. And is your offer compelling enough? Number 3 is your budget competitive and realistic to achieve your goals? I probably should make this all caps too. Competitive and realistic to achieve your goals. So in the beginning of this video, I said that if you are spending at least $2,000 a month, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. $2,000 a month is on the very, very, very low end of running Google Ads. It's probably enough, for a local business, depending on what type of business, to target a very small radius on a monthly basis. But is your budget even competitive and realistic enough to achieve your goals? Well, this client that wanted me to get 900 leads a month, I told him, well, if you want 900 leads a month, then we're looking at probably about $10,000 to $15,000. And then his jaw dropped to the floor. But that's the reality of it. You're not going to be able to get leads for much cheaper than a certain rate, because you've already got really strong quality scores and we've already got a great landing page, so what else can we do? Unless you have an offer that's pretty much giving away something for free. But the reality is, what is your budget, and is that budget going to be enough in order for you to hit a realistic goal? And if you are not sure of what your budget should be, I have a video I'll link in the description below on how to do some budget forecasting to determine what your budget should be. That's probably one of my more popular videos. Another thing that I want you to ask yourself is, are you bidding on the right BOF keywords? By BOF, I mean bottom of funnel keywords. Keywords like buy, actually, I'm saying buy. I'm saying keywords like hire an attorney, or keywords like free consultation attorney, or attorney for foreclosure, or attorney for bankruptcy, attorney consultation. Those types of keywords that show that the user is ready to talk to someone about what they're looking for. Typically, keywords that don't have anything before it, like if we're just using bankruptcy attorney, I think that could be okay, but hire bankruptcy attorney definitely has a stronger intent than just bankruptcy attorney. Because if someone's searching for bankruptcy attorney, it could be someone just looking for, what does a bankruptcy attorney do? So ask yourself, are you bidding on the right bottom of funnel keywords? Next, is your conversion tracking set up properly? Please run some tests to make sure that you are setting up your conversion tracking properly, because if you are not feeding the right data back to Google, it's not going to know how to optimize if you're using smart bidding. Another thing that I want you to look at on this checklist is your ad copy speaking to user benefits and pain points, or is it all about you? If you say that you're number one and you're the best, and you have something that all these other clients, all these other competitors don't, then that's great. But I want to see more. How does this benefit the end user? How are you helping them alleviate their pain points? The other thing that I want you to look at is your account or campaign structure set up properly? Are you using outdated SCAG keyword groupings, ad groupings, or are you using all broad match and no negative keywords? Are you using manual CPC, but you're not adjusting your bids often and regularly? That's a big problem. If you don't have this set up properly, you're just destined to fail right there. Is your search terms report clean? We've talked about looking at your search terms report almost daily, but I want you to take a good hard look at your search term. Is it report? Are the clicks that are coming through relevant to the service that you have to offer? Because if it's not, then that means that your search term report is not clean. You need to add negative keywords, and then also determine if you need to switch up your keyword match types or your keywords that you're bidding on. Are you using the proper bid strategy at the stage of your campaign? If you're starting out, you might want to consider doing a manual or maximize clicks, and then eventually switching to a max conversions, target CPA once you get enough data. But definitely look at this as well. Are you allowing enough time between optimizations to gather and learn? Yes, making sure that you are giving enough time and not just making tweaks because you're afraid that you're going to be losing team members tomorrow, and you're just reacting off of impulse. Allow enough time for data to collect, to gather and learn. We cannot go based off of emotion. We've got to go based off of data. So these are the pre-click things that I want you to look at. Next is post-click. Is your website or landing page converting up to standard? Strong conversion rates are greater than a 10%, and you will typically see that from sending traffic to a dedicated landing page. Then the other thing that I want you to consider is, do you have a process in place to follow up the leads properly and often in order to nurture those leads and turn those into sales? If you don't have this, then you definitely need to get something in place. If you don't have any of these, get something in place, fix all these issues, because this is what's going to yield you the best potential results. If you have the right expectation and you know when you should be making changes and you have the right strategy, lack of strategy is just going to lead you off a cliff. So before you even launch anything, having these things set up and reviewed by an expert is going to be really important. Or you can review it on your own, and if it follows these, then go ahead and take it live. But if you have a current campaign and you're realizing that you might not have the right budget because you're only spending $30 a month and you're expecting 500 leads, well, I hate to break it to you, that's not realistic. So yeah, I want you to take a look at this. I'll leave this in the description below for you to check, and you can download it, print it, and just go through your campaigns and see if you are even following in these uh, going through these checklists and making sure that you're following these best practices. And if you're still struggling, feel free to reach out. If you're spending at least $2,000 a month, I'd be happy to give you an audit. But if you have done all of this and it's been more than 90 days, before even officially giving up on Google Ads, you probably want to have someone, a third party, review it before you even just decide to turn things off. But if you've gone through this checklist and everything looks good, you've had a third party, either a freelancer or an agency, do an audit, and not just a free audit, because free audits are biased. Like, actually pay someone to do an audit for you. And if that person or agency tells you that you should give up on Google Ads because they don't see it's a good fit, then at that point you might want to consider it, because that means that you've followed all these best practices, you've had everything set up properly, and you even had an expert review it. And even then, they told you that it's probably not going to be yielding you a good return, and Google Ads might not be a good fit. 99% of the time, though, the issue is not a Google Ads issue. It's more of an issue. Well, it is not 99% of the time. The issue is not necessarily an issue with Google Ads itself. It's the way that the Google Ads campaign is set up, and then also with the the post-click issues. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to this channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And actually, please let me know what's your biggest takeaway in the comments below, and let me know if you think I'm missing anything from the checklist. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.